Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am ranking my most recent eyeshadow palettes that I acquired in the last few months. I usually do this video on a monthly basis, but I feel like last month got away from me. So today I have 9 palettes to rank for you, and as per usual I will include any type of makeup looks that I created with these eyeshadow palettes as well as swatches. And you can also check out my beauty Instagram page that is always linked for you in the description box of this video for more inspirational and up-close details on the makeup looks that I created with these eyeshadow palettes. Before we get started, I would love to welcome new visitors and viewers to my channel. Hello, my name is Eve. I love all things beauty. Here on my channel, I share about beauty and lifestyle. I upload new videos every week, and if that sounds interesting to you, I hope you enjoy this video. Subscribe to my channel. And if you're not new, welcome back. And now, without further ado, let's get into eyeshadow palette ranking. All the makeup that I'm wearing today will be linked for you in the description box. There are also a few reels on the blush and the lip products that I shared on my Instagram as well, so you can check it out there and see the products in action. I am excited for this ranking, and I feel like I am in a fall mood, like a complete fall mood, even though it's still 90 degrees outside here in Florida. I already partially redecorated our home for fall, and pumpkin spice coffees are already going in full force. I am ready for this ranking because some of these palettes I feel like they are transitional from like summer to fall, and I am very excited. This is a really nice stash of palettes. So some of these palettes were sent to me in the PR, and some of them I purchased myself. I will put all the information for you on the screen here as I talk about the palettes, and also if I have any discount codes with the brands, I will also pop them here for you on the screen. So this set of 9 palettes was very interesting because I feel like there are really no bad palettes. I primarily base this ranking on my personal preference when it comes to color stories and like how much use I'm gonna get out of something, but of course I will get more into details as we start talking about palettes actually. So now let's get to it. So on the spot number 9 I have Gourmandises by GourmandGirls eyeshadow palette. This is a pretty colorful palette, and this is probably the main reason why this palette took the last spot today. I do enjoy color. However, I always like to pair them with a little bit more neutrality, a little bit more toned down colorful colors. My favorite shades that I would probably reach the most in my day-to-day life, more of this bottom row, and I really like this shade as well. This silver shade and this baby blue is just absolutely stunning. Those are my favorite shades out of the palette. I do have a dedicated video on this palette. If you would like to see the looks that I created, I'll have the video linked for you in the description box. So on the spot number 8, I do have a palette that I really like the color story, and this is just kind of like my go-to palette that is a no-brainer. This is Alter Ego Daylight palette. This is a very nice neutral palette. Color story that resembles I Need a Nude from Natasha Denona, which I also have in my collection and I really enjoy. Pulling a little bit more in a cool tone, but with these 2 warmer shades here. I really like this color story. Initially, when I purchased the Natasha Denona option, I was a little bit skeptic about it, but then I ended up using that palette so much. This color story is just my simple go-to. I just realized if I need a super basic look, just something on my eyes, I just go for this type of palettes. That is no brainer. You just go to whatever shade looks at you first, and then the look comes out very nice, cohesive. I do have a look tutorial with this palette on my Instagram. I really like the format of this palette. It's almost like the size of my palm, and all the pans are magnetic. They're removable. You can just pop them out, take them with you to work, take in with you traveling. So I find this very, very useful. The reason why I rank this palette a little bit lower, it's because it is your basic neutral palette. It's a very good quality. It's beautiful shimmers, but I just feel like there are more interesting color stories that are coming up in this ranking that it wouldn't be fair if I would rank this much higher. On the spot number 7, I do have a palette that has a versatile color story. This is Botanical by Beauty Bay. This is a little bit larger format for the palette. However, it's not too big. But it's pretty flattering. I did not do a dedicated video on this palette because it was delivered to me considerably later at a launch. It took a little bit of time for me to get this palette in mail, and I just shared content on my Instagram for you. I definitely want to keep this palette around for fall and just create more looks. I think it's perfectly fitting for the fall and winter season. I really love the versatility of this palette. As far as the formula, I don't think this is like the best formula in my entire collection, but it's very nice formula. It's very straightforward, no bells and whistles, let's say, when it comes to this formulation. It's very easy formula to work with, and the price, I think this palette was like $22. So this palette was a limited edition, and I think this is something that Beauty Bay does. It's like their thing that they launch their limited edition palettes. We've all seen a limited edition palettes from different brands, and I was really thinking that the palette is going to be a limited edition for a few months and eventually it would be sold out. But man, this palette came and went, I think, in the same day. It was so popular, it was sold out. I was trying to find the link for this palette and it was gone. There's literally no trace in the space of the internet for this palette. Let me know if you purchased this palette or if you have any other palettes from this brand. As far as the formulation, I think the mattes are all the same. They're very consistent and they're very easy to work with. I did not experience any difficulty with any of the mattes at all. They're just very straightforward, like I said. And as far as the shimmers, again, they're very nice. They're very smooth. I apply them with finger. I think they apply better with finger than with the brush. With the brush, I get much sheerer coverage. I heard few people mentioning that the mattes would fade on them or the shimmers would crease. I did not experience any of that. So the next palette up is the palette from Kiko Milano. It's called a Gloss Supreme Gloss Dome Multi-Finish Eyeshadow Palette. I got mine in the variation 01 Over Earth Reflections. I love this packaging. It's giving me retro vibes. It's just giving me like 90s vibe of makeup. That's something that my mom used to have when I was a little girl. In this video, I featured this palette and other products from Kiko Milano that I purchased in Italy when I traveled there this summer. The shimmers are beautiful here. They're just beautiful, smooth, like buttery, reflective. They have this like micro shimmers in them that just pick up on light very beautifully. I also had a look from this eyeshadow palette in my Italy vlog. I did mention that I do not like purples. Like purple is my least favorite out of all the colors, but this is the type of purple that I like. The lilacs, this is my purple and I actually very enjoy them, but I also like them with neutrals. I like to combine them with neutrals. This whole entire palette is just giving me a vibe of a Norvina eyeshadow palette, and when I saw this I was like, yep, that's like my vibe, so I needed this. The matte formula is a little bit softer and goes lighter, like you get light looks out of this, but the shimmers in this palette are absolutely stunning. I just really love like the soft look out of this palette that I'm getting. But check out that video that is already live where I tried all my Kiko Milano purchases if you're interested. I share more detailed in-depth thoughts in that video. On spot number 5, I do have a palette from GourmandGirls. It's called Peach Perfect. The Pantone of the year of 2024 was Peach Fuzz, and I really thought that more brands, when it comes to especially eyeshadow palettes, gonna take advantage of that. So when Pantone of the year came out, I really was hoping that more brands are gonna show their peachy formulas, peachy blushes, peachy lip products, peachy eyeshadows especially. I wanted to see more peach colors showing up on the market for like spring and summer. It would be like so perfect, but unfortunately to my disappointment, that kind of went unnoticed. This was sent to me in a PR, but I would purchase this palette myself because I had GourmandGirls as a brand on my radar, and I was just waiting again for the color story that would appeal to me, to my soul, to first try their formula. This color story is just beautiful to me. I really love the green shade, these beautiful like sage greens and like some darker greens here, and then the peaches, and then there's a little neutral shade here just to throw in a mix. I did not do a dedicated video on this palette, but I do have look tutorials on my Instagram that I shared with you, and the look that I'm wearing today, the base of the look is made out of this palette. I used these two peach shades in my initial transition and these two shades mixed for my outer corner. I think this palette is very fun. The shimmers in this palette are gorgeous. Like look at these two, like they're just stunning. They're just like very complex, very smooth, very reflective. The reason why I'm ranking this palette kind of like in the middle of the way, even though I really love this color story, is because these two shades, they don't necessarily show up on me very well because I am very fair. They kind of blend into my skin. The mid-range here is beautiful, absolutely beautiful, and the quality is very beautiful. These two shades, the darkest ones, however, I found that they pack better than they blend. It requires a more specific brush and it requires a more specific technique. So other than that, I really like this palette. On the spot number 4, I am placing another new brand to my collection, Unbreakable Bond from Sydney Grace. My first time trying Sydney Grace eyeshadow formula, which you guys knew it was also on my wish list from the beginning of the year, and not only this year, but like for the previous years. I've been wanting to try Sydney Grace eyeshadows for a very long time, and I finally did. I shopped during their Christmas and July sale. I was debating between different color stories within their eyeshadow palettes, and I just decided to go with something that I know I would use. This is something that I naturally reach for on a daily basis, and that's what I decided to go for. This palette has magnetic pans, which is fantastic. I feel like this palette has a little bit of weight to it, a little bit more than my other palettes in my collection of this size. Formula of the mattes is absolutely consistent and is absolutely lovely. It's so easy to work with, and the shades are very easy to blend. As far as the shimmers, I think they're also very consistent. However, there are two shimmers here, this shimmer and this shimmer. They are somewhat duochromish. They're not like the very strong shifty duochromes, but they have a very beautiful like soft shift to them, and they look very, very flattering. So I generally very much enjoy the formula, and the only shade that I do not really love in this palette is this one. It's burgundy, but I feel like it pulls a lot purple. I think I might be just taking it out and replacing it with something green, because I feel like my perfect palette would look something like this, but I would replace maybe like this shade and this shade. This shade doesn't really show up on my skin because it's very, very pale. It's more of like a lid setting shade for me. So I'll probably replace this shade and this shade with something like green, like mossy green, and it would be like my ideal palette, my go-to travel palette. I'm very happy I tried a Sydney Grace eyeshadow palette formula, and I was not disappointed. I definitely want to see what brand is going to bring in the future. I'm going to keep my eyes out. So on spot number 3, I put Natasha Denona I Need a Warm palette. When this palette initially was revealed, I was a little bit disappointed that we're getting another neutral palette, even though, you know, I love neutrals. And obviously I purchased this palette. I was hoping to see a little bit more adventurous. I would love to see more greens. Like, I know she launched the Yucca palette, but Yucca was very warm and summery. I really wanted to see like more muted greens, maybe like burgundies from her. I really want a little bit more colorful, but like muted, like neutralize a colorful story from her. And I don't think I am the only one who is thinking that way. But I'm not mad at this palette, and I kind of understand what the brand is doing. They're trying to build a wardrobe for different skin tones and undertones out there, so they do have like the range of palettes for that. I see their track of thought, but I also feel like while they're trying to do that, build the brand's variety and inclusivity, it's nice to kind of sprinkle those moments of fun for other makeup lovers and somebody who wants a little bit more color. First, I was kind of debating if I wanted this palette or not, but then I just realized that it reminds me of this palette, the Face Glam palette, the lighter version that I have, and mine is beat up, you guys. Mine palette has been loved so much, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and get the larger palette because this is kind of what I use for every day. And I really, really, really love Natasha Denona formulas, both mattes and shimmers. There were also like few new formulas that she introduced here, and I was very curious. There's also this beautiful shade here, which I have all over my lid. This duochrome, multichrome shade that you are seeing here, it's this one right here. I really like this palette. It definitely is very useful. It's not special by all means. I think the formula is just what I expected from Natasha Denona. It's great. I love her shimmers. I love her mattes. I love that everything is removable. You can just kind of pop them out, take them with you. I think for most part, I purchased this palette for selfish reasons because I wanted it for myself. These days, a lot of things that I purchase because of my channel, because I am making content. But this palette was totally purchased for my own needs, even though you will definitely hear me talk about this palette in my videos here, but I definitely wanted this palette for myself. I really like this palette. It's very useful. I've been reaching for it, but again, is it unique in any way? No, but I still like it because it's Natasha Denona formula. So on spot number 2, I have the Neutrals palette from Cosmic Brushes. So this is my first palette from the brand. I really thought that they renamed their brand from Cosmic Brushes to Cosmic Beauty, but apparently not, because it still says Cosmic Brushes in the back. This was the brand that was on my radar. Again, I was waiting for the color story that would speak to my soul a little bit more, and this definitely did because it's very neutral. It has some golds and yellowish and greens, and I absolutely love this. This brand and their formula is very much loved on the platform, and I definitely was not disappointed. I really enjoy the formula. The mattes are really lovely to work with. The shimmers are very, very pretty, and I really love that there's like different formulations here within the shimmers, because there's some special shimmers here. There's some duochromes. Look at this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade. Like, are you kidding me with these? These are so, so beautiful. I definitely don't have anything like this in my collection. They're very unique shades. Definitely, this is going to be one of my fall palettes. Again, I am giving you some spoilers here, but I mean, how could I not include this into my fall wardrobe? Very beautiful, very useful palette. A little bit larger format that I prefer these days, but I love that you're getting versatility. And let me tell you, this shade right here, this shade right here, holy guacamole, it's the shade that I want to wear the entire fall. Like, at first you look at this palette and you're like, yeah, we've seen all these colors before, but it's that neutral, but make it 2024. So on number one spot, I have a palette that not only has all the shades that I love for the fall, and also the formulas, obviously, that I really enjoy from the brand, but also it surprised me by the theme. It's not like the typical shades and colors that we see for the fall launches. NOMAD Cosmetics Fuji 5 Lakes. This color story is so beautiful, but it's also very unexpected for the fall. I really love like the burgundies and the muted blues, like teal colors. They also gave us the oranges and yellows. This yellow shimmer is just so stunning. I love that there is a matte red here. Like, I was going through my collection not so long ago just to realize that I don't really have like a solid red. And then this palette was launched and I was like, oh my God, they're reading my mind. And the packaging, it's literally a piece of art. And I love that the design on outside of the palette kind of translates into the color story. I love things that are themed. Theme parties, I love theme collections. I love themed things that are well executed, and I think this is one of them. I do have a dedicated video on this palette if you'd like to see the looks that I created. All right, guys, these are the 9 palettes that I've recently tried and tested. Some have dedicated videos on. I will have them, of course, linked in the description box for your reference. So I also wanted to show you that this palette is in my collection. Laminatrix Cosmetics Barely Basic eyeshadow palette. It's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. But I'm ashamed to say that I have not touched, and I've had this in my possession for a few weeks now. And this palette is just absolutely so gorgeous. I definitely want to give it more thoughts. I don't think I'm going to be doing dedicated video on this palette, but I'll probably incorporate it in like trying new makeup or doing like some type of like full themed video, and you'll definitely see more content on my Instagram. I definitely feel bad that I missed out on doing the dedicated video on this palette, but I'm so excited to try the formula because I heard nothing but the most amazing things. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you're subscribed, because I do the ranking videos like on a monthly basis. I try to do them on a monthly basis, depending on how many palettes are launching in that period of time. So I just want to make sure I tried the eyeshadow palettes fully to give you my full roundup thoughts and show you the looks and swatches and all that good stuff. So this Glaminatrix palette definitely will be included in my next ranking video, so stay tuned for that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, comments, I'll leave them in a comment section below. Let me know if you have any of these palettes, if you have other palettes from these brands that I featured today that you also enjoy. Thank you for watching this video till the end. If you're not yet a subscriber, I invite you to subscribe to my channel. Before you leave today, if you like to see a dedicated eyeshadow palette content, I will leave some of the related videos for you at the end of this video. Thanks so much for watching, hanging out with me today, and I will catch you in my next one.